it is now being recorded. And I think I still need to inform you that this meeting is being audio and video recorded for posting on the council's website, or words to that effect. Deputy Town Clerk.
I think we need to possibly mention why we're doing it.
Okay, so this is this is a meeting of the unexpected meeting of the Planning and Highways Working Party, which is a meeting online because the council offices are inaccessible due to an incident on Bath Road opposite the Brownsfield Road. And because of that, we will be there are certain items on the agenda that it's not appropriate to consider. So, and that's particularly item 9 on the standing orders, which would be, I think, requires a certain formality and is not urgent. So, moving on to agenda item. Apologies for absence first, Madam Deputy Town Clerk.
Apologies received from Councillor Walker.
And Councillor Dillon, I've seen on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Thank you. So declarations of interest. See no one seeking to speak, so we'll then move on to agenda item 3, the minutes of the last meeting. Take and read as accurate. I'll just mention in past, Councillor Crumley.
I was going to say proposed.
I was just going to say before we do, just a minor point that the minutes as you have them are missing Annex or Appendix 2, which will be circulated afterwards. That's a map relating to the cycleway, but I think that's a detail we discussed. It just illustrates what we discussed last week at the last meeting. Sorry. So thank you, Councillor Crumley. You've proposed the minutes are approved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Lister, thank you very much. All those in favour of the minutes being approved? Councillor Woodhams, you in favour? Thank you. That's unanimous. Okay, so matters arising from the previous meeting, Madam Deputy Town Clerk.
I only have one to report back on, the cycling, not the cycling, the lighting scheme for the cycleway. So following correspondence with West Berkshire Council, we forwarded our response from the previous meeting, and they have come back with a response saying, where are we? The question was specifically around the possibility of additional lighting on the existing section of footway and cycleway, a relatively minor scheme, and the comments that we came back with were not particularly applicable to that scheme. However, they forwarded the comments to the team responsible for cycleways in West Berkshire, and they are going to contact us with regard to the items we highlighted, and they've advised that they will be going ahead with the lighting scheme, and thank you for our support in principle. Okay.
Thank you. Well, I think our support was sort of as a second choice, wasn't it? Because anyway, so but the other point is that, of course, the other comments that we're making were in fact to make the cycle route continuous. So it's always the case that if the usability is determined by the least usable portion. So hopefully we will be able to follow up on those points, particularly the crossing. Thank you. And the final document that we sent to Iceni is attached to the minutes, which you'll hopefully have noted with the amendments that we discussed. So moving on to agenda item 5 itself, the Iceni Projects Ltd. Would you like to introduce this, Deputy Town Clerk, or shall I do so briefly?
So we popped this on the agenda because we've responded to the comments on the baseline reports, and I believe councillors have passed on more information about other reports as well. It was just to consider whether there was a need to respond to the further three items on there.
Okay, so this was these 5 questions were embedded in an email on a different topic, which is why we didn't notice them. I think that firstly, we have dealt with item 1 fully. We've also referred to the Thatcham vision under item 2. My suggestion is that I think we have in fact provided them with adequate information, and that there's no need to take any further action effectively. Although we haven't addressed these questions separately, we have in effect already addressed them and provided them more than sufficient information. Thank you. Is there any comments on that? So I'd therefore like to suggest that we regard those 5 questions as closed. Thank you. Is anyone, do we want to take a vote on that? I'm proposing that we regard that as closed. Councillor Woodhams was second, and then I think everyone's in, that's unanimous. I think there's just one point, of course, that we were offered the opportunity to review the draft vision report. The time when that was due to become available is already upon us. So I think it would be helpful if you, Madam Deputy Town Clerk, you could write to them reminding them that we are awaiting with interest that report, and if you could give them the date of our next meeting, so that if we could have it sufficiently in advance that we're able, if they wish a response in a timely manner, that if they give us sufficiently in advance of that meeting so that we can think about it before the meeting itself, or if alternatively inform us if it's been delayed. Thank you. So I think that closes agenda item 5, unless anybody has anything further to add. Thank you. Agenda item 6, the West Berkshire Minerals and Waste Local Plan Consultation. Shall I deal with it? Go through this one very quickly. Don't think we need to detain as much. So we looked at the Minerals and Waste Local Plan Consultation when it came out. It largely didn't affect us because the sites that were within Thatcham were the existing sites that were just being carried forward into the new plan. The consultation, there are a number of, firstly to say that when a consultation this is a Regulation 19 consultation, it went to the inspector, and there were a number of comments made, I think almost entirely by Oxfordshire County Council, relating to the duty to cooperate. And as a result of that, the inspector made a number of comments on the what are called main modifications, which is what he recommends that the council make themselves in order before the document is adopted. None of those, as far as I could see, had any bearing on Thatcham Town area. So I'd suggest that we just note this consultation and take no action upon it. Anyone else read the document and wish to add anything? Councillor Woodhams, were you seconding that, or did you wish to give us a detailed review?
Apparently both proposing and seconding at the same time.
Okay, thank you. I was proposing it, so you're seconding it. Those in favour of noting this, thank you very much. We then move on to item 7, a premises licence application for a company called Meat Space VR. I'd like to introduce this one, Madam Deputy Town Clerk.
Would you like me to share the screen?
Yeah, that would be useful.
Yeah. A moment.
While you're doing that, I'll just explain what I found out about this company. VR stands for virtual reality, and they are a company that have now 4 sites around the country. It's a national company. There's Birmingham and London and one other, and they offer virtual reality experiences for people to play online shared computer games.
I'm not sure whether that's worked or not.
Yes, it does. I can see that.
Hang on. Can I just stop sharing a moment?
Yeah.
Sorry. My screen went a bit skewy.
It looks okay to us.
Yeah. Okay. Bear with me again. Okay.
And by the way, I am able to see everybody at the same time if you need to raise your hands. Okay. So over to you, Madam Deputy Town Clerk.
So this is an application for a new premises license at Meat Space VR. It's at 2 Pipers Court, Berkshire Drive. They are looking to supply alcohol for on-premises sales only from Monday to Saturday 12 midday through to 10 o'clock at night, and Sunday 12 midday till 8 o'clock at night. This, if you need a location, they are here, which is just off Piper's Way, so imagine in there. Going further down to yeah, that's the actual application and the times there. And then we have the steps that they'll take.
Okay.
Do you need? Did I send the map out as well?
I think if you could just show, well, probably I think all of the details of the application are probably standard conditions, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you go back to the map, because that's probably more significant than the.
And then there's the.
Yeah.
So this is the bar area within premises in the game area. And then this is where it is again.
Right. Do any councillors have any comments before I make my own comments? Councillor Lillicrop was first.
Thank you, Chair. I suppose first I'd say always welcome new types of recreational facility within the town, and the Meet Space VR sounds quite exciting. I quite look forward to finding out what that's all about. Personally, I don't see any issue with the application for the license. It's fairly restricted, focused on beers and wines for consumption on the premises. The premises itself is fairly remote from most housing areas anyway, and we've certainly granted similar things to premises not far away from there in the recent past. So I would be in favour of it, I think.
Okay, Councillor Crumley.
Thank you, Chair. I'm looking through the application. There's I think our part 3 describes the site as a warehouse on an industrial estate. It seems to be remote, or at least fairly remote from residential properties on the map. And although it's like a new pub or a new bar, I suppose it's not dissimilar from a golf club or a bowls club where there's a function going on and there are drinks afterwards. I cannot see any reason for objecting to this proposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll make one comment. Yes, it's in an industrial estate, but if you look on the map, you'll see it's very close to the Alanova School of Dancing, which is will have young people coming and going through the evenings. I don't know if that's a consideration for people. I'm also tempted to ask if virtual reality is so good, why they need real alcohol? Couldn't they have virtual alcohol instead? And with that, I'll pass on to Councillor Lister.
Yeah, so my initial thought was, will this attract sort of younger people, and therefore maybe it's not appropriate to be serving alcohol there. But I think I put that aside, because when I look into Meet Space, I can see it would also attract sort of corporate events, and therefore it's quite appropriate to think that they have alcoholic drinks in support of those. That'd be much better for their business if they could actually have a lounge with drinks, and I'm all for encouraging new businesses and enterprises. I think that would very much help. So I've got no objections. I'm just curious, is it actually open already? Does anybody know?
It is advertised. It is advertised on the website as being open.
Oh, that's really interesting. I might pay it a visit.
Councillor Woodhams.
Chairman, I didn't see the age groups attending the premises.
Well, I don't think it's obviously the bar was in a separate area. I would say from looking at the pricing of this, it is probably going to be people, with an income who'll be attending. And it's quite an advanced thing. It's if I mention for council listeners' benefit, particularly, they were referring to zero latency as one of the features. So and indeed, one of the other venues did have an 18 limit on access to the premises on which that it was cited. So I think it's not targeted at under 18s. Councillor Crumley, did I see you raising your hand?
No, not this time.
Okay. So would someone like to make a proposal? Councillor Withams?
Proposed, Chairman.
Sorry?
Propose approval.
I think it's we're proposing no. Well, so I guess that would be no. What is the options for this? Because this is a bit different from a planning application.
So the consultation period finishes tomorrow, and they just require any comments, objections, representations before midnight tomorrow.
So no objection, I say, would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Propose no objections then.
Okay, thank you. And I think that was seconded by proposed or seconded by Councillor Crumley. And those in favour? Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to the Eastern Area Planning Committee update. Now, I believe, Madam Deputy Chair Clerk, you haven't received this information officially. So if I turn to Councillor Lillicrop, who was more closely involved.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I couldn't attend the meeting, unfortunately, but I did get a report back from the chairs of the SWMP and Flood Forum to say that they'd both spoken in favour of the schemes at the EAPC, and that it had been unanimously approved, all three schemes. And I know plans are underway to move forward with these schemes as promptly as possible once the planning is in place. So work, I think, will be commencing on all three schemes in the latter half of the year, now that the approval is in place. And we just as a footnote to that, Councillor Dillon and I have had a meeting recently with officers at West Berks and the chairs of the SWMP and Flood Forum to basically to explain to senior officers some of the things that held up the progress of these three plans, to try and make sure that the next plan, which is the final part essentially of the planned work under the SWMP at the memorial field, to try and make sure that progresses maybe a little bit faster than these three have. Okay. Yeah, very pleased to report that these three schemes were approved unanimously and look forward to their completion.
Thank you very much for that information and good news. So moving on to agenda item, I'm proposing that we defer agenda item 9 because I think that requires a specific wording which we don't have before us. It's not urgent, and because it's something would be going to full council, I think it's better done in a meeting of committee rather than working party. If that's acceptable to members, then we'll move on to agenda item 10, which is fuller than usual. So over to Madam Deputy Town Clerk to give the usual thorough introduction.
Right, move me 1 moment. Right, I hope I have all the information because I had to throw this together quite quickly. Right, so the first one we have is the English barn on Chapel Street. And this is for the conversion of the barn into residential accommodation, proposing a 4-bedroom family home. It's a detached grade 2 listed agricultural timber framed barn. It's just set back from the highway on Chapel Street. There have been 2 previous approvals to convert the barn for use, first in 2006 to a commercial unit, and again in 2011 for a residential property, but they've not been carried out yet. The application in 2011, Thatcham Town Council had no objections at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So just to talk through the plans of, sorry, I need to share my screen, don't I?
We probably don't need a map for this one.
No, you've got it anyway, but it's, right, there we go. So there it is. This is the proposed site plan. So they are looking to enter from this point here with 3 parking spaces. You've got bin store and cycle storage, turning point. We've got high timber frame close board to match the existing fence, the brick wall as well, and then obviously they've put some extra windows in here. That's the existing east elevation, and that's the proposed east elevation with the addition of a number of windows. They're looking to be sympathetic to the materials and obviously adhere to any of the grade 2 listing requirements. We have a north elevation here, and again the proposed north elevation, so I would imagine they'll be replacing the existing windows there, and adding roof lights at this point. Those are still there. And we have the south elevation, and that's the proposed south elevation again with the addition of some roof lights and doors and windows to the bottom. And then that's the existing west elevation. Again, addition of more windows. That's the current existing ground floor plan, and this is the proposed plan. So the living space is to this side, with the atrium between there and there, and then the 4 bedrooms to this side of the property. Okay.
Thank you very much. Any comments, Councillor Crumley?
Yes, thank you, Chair. This site has been an eyesore for many years, it seems, in the middle of our town. So on a personal level, I'm delighted to see that somebody's going to be doing something with it. I'm equally pleased and delighted to see that the barn itself, which is quite an attractive feature, is going to be largely retained and not knocked down, something else put there in its place. So as the application says, it's a conversion of a barn into residential accommodation. It looks to me as if it's going to be a pleasing and pleasant feature for the town centre. Bearing in mind it's a prominent site when it's completed. I feel quite happy to offer no objection to this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments before I make a comment? Councillor Lister.
Yeah, I mean, I share Councillor Crumley's views. It's good to see development happen. Probably development sites being made good. I have to say that, I mean, I feel disappointed that it's going to housing. I look at that site and think, what a fantastic property that would have been to host something for the community, whether it's a museum or some sort of heritage building to support some community hall or local bands or events or something. I appreciate it's in private hands and we have no say over that, so I have no objection from doing the work. But there's a part of me that just says, it's a shame, it feels like a missed opportunity. So that's where I said, pleased to see it happening, but a bit disappointed it's not for the greater good.
Thank you. So my comments, firstly, I think that we can accept that the current agricultural use is largely redundant in its current location. Could you go back to I have no worries about the conversion itself, but the question is more about the walls, and what is going to be along the front boundary of that's the one, because I can't see the detail here on my screen.
That help?
Yes. So the front wall, I think, is going to be 2 meters high. Is that correct?
Close boarded timber fence,
Yeah,
1.8 meter high.
Which is which?
And the wall is 2. Hang on.
It's wall 1. So it's along the front. Yeah.
So that's the brick wall, 2 meter high brick piers with stretcher bond.
Yeah. So that would be my concern about having given that it is a bit of a landmark, to have it obscured by a 2 meter wall right up by the pavement is something that I'm disappointed with. Do other people share that? Councillor Lister.
Yeah, I share that view, Chair. I mean, it's a lovely looking building, and it is part of the heritage of the town.
Yeah.
And it would be much better if the building was open, because it brings value to the whole centre. I think having its appearance being visible. I'm not really in favour of fencing buildings off to that degree to hide the occupants from the outside. And what tends to happen over time as well is the outside of the fencing or the wall can often be left to sort of degrade over time and not be so attractive. So
the wall is actually further close. It's that boarding that we currently see is some way back from the footway, but the proposal is to have it right up against the footway, and the plan showed that what was beyond it was parking and not a social area of the garden. So could I suggest then my proposal is to say that we have no objection to the proposals for the building itself, but we object to the wall along the front obscuring the building, which is a valuable vista or setting for the north of the town. Any further comments before we, Councillor Crumley?
Yes, thank you for raising the point, Chair. I thought there was a presumption or a planning rule that you didn't have a fence or a wall right abutting the pavement. It just looks plain ugly. There's 1 or 2 sites around Thatcham I see every day. There used to be 18 inches or a metre or so of grass before you got to the wall. So perhaps we could say that should be proposed, and also perhaps the wall could be of a lesser height, wall or fence be of a lesser height, so that the barn itself is revealed and not hidden.
Any further comments? So I think that's encapsulated in what we said, that we were that we have no objection to the building. We object to the height and location of the wall. We prefer it to be lower and set back from the pavement. And in response to Councillor Crumley, if you have a wall that abuts a vehicle highway, you need planning permission for it to be more than a metre. So of course, if they put it in as part of this planning application, they would by default be getting the planning permission that they would require. So I think I think we have to make that objection or that comment or objection if we wish that to be taken into account in the consideration of the application. Madam Deputy Clerk.
So you're going to vote on no objection to the building itself. However, you object to the wall or put a condition on?
Yeah, we reject to the wall as proposed, and we wish it to be lower and set back from the footway so that it doesn't obscure the visibility of the view of the building so much.
Chair, does that not mean strictly that we're objecting to the planning application?
We are, but
And
if we say so we object. I think we're objecting. We are, but we're objecting to the wall. We're objecting to that element of the application. Yes.
Yeah, but just for
I think yes. So we're effectively objecting to the wall part of the application. So there's no objection to the building, but we object to the proposed wall to the front. We request that it is lower and set back from the pavement, the footway, so that it doesn't obscure the visibility of the building so much. Okay, so with that wording, I think that's well, it's on the recording anyway. Are you content, Madam Deputy Town Clerk?
I think I am. I don't want to confuse them by saying no objection and then object. I think that was just
okay. So if we are content with the building, but we object. we're objecting to the application.
Yeah.
We have no concerns about the building, but we object to the wall in front and request that it would be lower and set back from the pavement, so that the visibility of the listed building is maintained, or is not impaired too much.
Okay.
Thank you. So I propose that wording. The seconder for that? Councillor Crumley, those in favour of that? Thank you very much. That is unanimous.
Right, so moving on to another one. Okay, can you see that one? It's 20 Gordon Road.
Mm-hmm.
So if I expand that a fraction. So here we have a bungalow. They're proposing some ground floor and first floor alterations with new dormer windows to both side elevations. So they're looking to install dormer windows to the side of the building. So this is the existing plan. So they currently have this extension to the rear, I think. And then this is the new one with the dormers to the side here and here. And they're changing some internal alterations downstairs to fit WC in here, and the reason for the dormers is for the bathroom and the ensuite and a bit of the bedroom to the so that's the keeping the existing floor plate and just popping out with the dormers here and here. So if I show you the property maps, so it's on Gordon Road. It's this one here. Yeah. This is the property. There are others that have had dormers put in.
I think that one's original.
Yeah, I think that one's original.
Yeah.
They might have been put in, I'm not sure.
There's,
Oh, that's hideous.
So yeah, that's the sort of.
so it is also next to a also next to a two-story house, so it is actually still less prominent.
Go over the top, so it's this one here. So yeah, it would be facing this bit here and this bit here. There's been no representations on it.
Any comments?
No.
See no, but Councillor Crumley.
Can we see the dormers proposed front and rear, please? I understand that's what's proposed.
I think they're proposed at the sides, aren't they?
Well, I find it hard to imagine you have them at the sides, but all right, maybe I'm missing something. Can you? All right, there's on that plan there. There's one at the side, and where's the other? Can we see the other side, or that's there? That's there. Where's the double one? So
there and there.
Right. Or I've got that. It was not easy. I'm sorry for me to pick up the picture. Right. So I think it looks absolutely hideous. I'm not a fan of these dormers jutting out, whether near or near the roof line. I think it's far too prominent. I don't care if every other house in the street has had something similar. These are awful. I think they're absolutely against planning guidance, so I would object simply on the dormers alone, both of them. So I say object. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Woodhams.
Well, Chairman, I'm familiar with the road and the many bungalows that may have turned into home or houses and have dormers in various places across the roofs. And I think the precedent has basically been set now for various dormers and various other extensions into the roof. In many respects, they are needed as either a family expands with children or perhaps other members of the family come to move in. I'm not specifically aware of planning regulations preventing them. It's probably more of a personal judgment. So from my point of view, I would raise no objections.
Okay. Thank you. Well, as I know this road also from travelling from the opposite direction to you, Keith. So, and you say there's a sort of wide variety of houses, and in fact, there's one at the end of the road, which was the subject of a much more expansive extension, which we've discussed previously. So I think in the scheme of what is at present, this is actually fairly modest compared to other houses on the road. As I said, it's adjacent to a two-storey house. I have a proposal, Councillor Lister, before I...
Yes, maybe I just missed that. I was still studying the picture on Google Maps. Are these dormers that are facing from the side of the building rather than front and back, yeah?
They're facing out to the sides, yes.
Yeah. Is there any other example you've got local knowledge of that street where they go to the sides?
Chairman, I can't hear clearly.
Sorry, do you know if there's any other properties where the dormers go to the sides of the building rather than the front and the back? Because I do find that's quite unusual.
I'm not aware, but that's probably to do with the design of the building. A lot of them, as you see, have single pitch roofs, so that you couldn't put a dormer on the sides. But as I said, it's adjacent to a two-storey house, which you can see has already been quite substantially extended. In fact, if you look down the street, you'll see that almost every house has been extended in some way or another. So I think if there are no further comments, we have a proposal from Councillor Crumley to object. Do we have a seconder for that proposal? I see no one wishing to second that proposal, so that one falls. Councillor Woodhams.
Therefore, I propose that we raise no objections.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Lillicrop, those in favour of the motion to raise no objections to this development? We have 3, those against and abstentions. So we have one against and 1 abstention, so we approve that. We make no objections to that development, that proposal number 2 on the list, 20 Gordon Road. So moving on to number 3 on our list, 11 Pound Lane.
We seem to be busy in Thatcham West.
It's another 2-metre wall.
Yeah.
Only this one's already been built.
It's a retrospective.
Oh.
Bear with me one moment. So, you see that one? I need to...
Just about.
Yeah, no. It's several different sizes, this one. So this is 11 Pound Lane. They are looking for a retrospective application for a 2-metre front brick wall with timber panel inserts and metal gates. So it's here. They've done the wall here with gates. And this is what it currently looks like. And so it's on Pound Lane here. This is the property. It was previously hedge. The screen just went black, did yours? And they now, this is the current.
Oh, is that it? What's there now?
That's what's there now.
Wow.
Chairman, can I seek guidance?
Yes.
I know the owner of the property fairly well, and would I therefore withdraw from making a comment or voting on this particular application?
You need to declare a non-pecuniary interest. So
can I declare that then?
Note that. It may be better if you don't vote on it. You may want to make comments, but if you wish, but I suggest that it might be better not to vote.
Not to vote and not to comment. Thank you.
If you wanted to make comments, but I think probably not to vote, but you may prefer not to make comments either.
That's true.
Any comments? Councillor, sorry, Deputy Clerk.
There were 5 representations on this application and all were in support of it, mentioning that it was an improvement to what was there before, an enhanced road. There were no negative representations.
Councillor Crumley.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm afraid nobody likes retrospective applications. I'm just having a look around the rest of the road, at least as it was being shown by Madam Clerk. I mean, there's a wall opposite, which is a more appropriate height. I don't really see the need for the substantial height of the applicant property. Did we say it was somebody says a 2-metre wall, mixture of wall and fence. Well, that's 6'7" inches, which is too tall. It seems out of keeping. I think I find it, despite the fact that it's set back with grass in front of it. I know the word that springs to mind is intimidating, a strange word, but makes it look sort of fortress-like, or even something worse. I think it's inappropriate, not suitable for a housing estate or a housing road. So I say object to that. Thank you.
Any further comments? Councillor Lister.
Yeah, I mean, I share Councillor Crumley's view. The first time I saw this, I thought, oh, it looks intimidating. That's quite a good description. The hedge was probably a similar height, though. So it probably doesn't go any higher, I suspect, than what the previous hedge was. I think it's more of a reflection of that they haven't maintained the hedge and the greenery. I'd much prefer to have kept the greenery than seeing this wall and elevated sort of wood section. So yeah, I would object to this as well. You know, if this was put before me before the building of it, I'd have objected on the grounds that it was overbearing, and for some of the reason I said earlier regards the barn. I think it's much more pleasant to the eye when you can actually see more of buildings and it's a more open environment.
So I'll make my comment that firstly, obviously, I think the view might be coloured by the vehicles that were formerly parked along the front of it. And my thinking is that what would it look like if all of the houses in Pound Lane had similar frontages? So I would be worried about the precedent that this would set. Do I have? I think I have a proposal from Councillor Crumley to object, and
correct.
And Councillor Lister, you are seconding that.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah, and those in favour of objecting, then we have four in favour of objecting, with Councillor Woodham's abstaining on grounds of interest in the matter. So that we object. Thank you.
Hope you don't know him that well, Keith.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I hope you don't know him that well. Don't worry.
It's very difficult to hear you. I don't know, it's because you've got the headphones on, but
it's okay.
After the meeting. As they say in the trade.
Moving closer to homes, Councillor Woodhams.
Oh,
we now go on to 44 Mersey Way.
Oh my goodness.
So this is 44 Mersey Way, looking for a first floor side extension to create a room over a garage. Sorry, my machine just went black. Don't know whether you see that, but it keeps popping in and out.
It's okay. It's continuous for us. I haven't seen those problems.
All right, my whole screen goes black in front of me. So here's the property. So this is what they're looking to put over the side here. I think they currently have front porch and garage here. And they are looking, sorry, plan. That's their existing plan. And they're looking to bring the porch forward, I think, a fraction, and the garage a fraction more.
Okay.
And that's the room above. Yeah. So if I show you on the map, this is a 3D render as well. This is the existing, and that's what they're looking to do there. I believe it's this property here. Mm-hmm. 44, yeah. There's a mixture of housing types on this road, that some have had similar side extensions and so forth. It's in a bit of a cul-de-sac there. Yeah, it's that one there. There's been no representations on it, and all the materials will be to match the existing.
Very much. Councillor Woodhams.
Yes, as you may be aware, that I also live in Mersey Way, number 68, which is not too far away, and I think it would be right and proper for me to declare that interest.
Thank you. But I think it's far enough away that you're not affected directly by it, so I'd be happy for you to continue to discuss if you feel comfortable.
I'll take your guidance then, Chairman. Thank you.
So, any comments on this proposal? Councillor Lister was first, marginally.
Can I just check there's no representation from the neighbours?
No representations.
In which case I have no objections.
Councillor Crumley.
I have no objections either, providing, of course, there's no objection by neighbours. Okay, there are none at the moment, but they may arrive separately. It seems a reasonable extension in line with others that seem to be in the same neighbourhood. So I'll support the no objection.
Thank you, and I have no objection either. So but we have a proposal and a seconder, no objection. Those in favour of making no objection? Thank you very much. No objection, that was unanimous. So,
so the next application we have is Foxhold House on Thornford Road. It's an application for a change of use of part of a ground floor from a small animal veterinary clinic to a one-bedroom dwelling. So this is the plan here. This is what the building currently looks like.
could you go back to the plan, because I have a feeling that that we have a sort of, you know, the larger scale plan, the second one.
Sorry.
Could you enlarge that, because I'm trying to remember. So if I recall, we've had planning applications for the building to the top left, marked between shrubs and parking area before.
We've had a couple for Foxhold Farm.
Okay.
Which I think is a bit further up from here.
Okay.
This road here.
Right. Okay.
I couldn't find something with regards to
yeah,
this.
that looking
That's
at
not to say there isn't.
looking at the road layout there, it is a different premises.
Look on the. So I think we've had applications for up here in this area. It's this property here. I think we've previously discussed Foxhold Farm, so that might be where you're thinking of, but that's not to say that isn't before my time, that this might have been discussed. So just going back to, so they're looking, this is their design and access statement, planning history on it. It's been a veterinary practice for over 11 years, but it appears that they've got two practices, and this one is becoming less used. See what else there was. So this the history of the property itself. So back in 2012 is when, so 2009 is when they changed it into veterinary clinic. James is coming. Scanning through. So the proposal, if I go back to the plan, is this is what it currently is, with a bathroom, kitchen, and office and consulting room, and then the other area to this side, and they're looking to keep this part as the remaining veterinary facility, and to have change so the bathroom and the kitchen remain there, but to change the existing, I think, office to a bedroom and consulting room to a dining sitting room. It looks like they said these two doors will stay closed, and that's to be removed. I saw one thing from the environmental health who had concerns regarding sound insulation with between a domestic and commercial property, but no other representations or anything else on there. So the application is for the change of use to a ground floor flat. Chairman, excuse me, you're on mute.
So it's a change of use with insignificant changes to the external appearance of the building. The building is not visible from public place. So the question, I think, is about the principle of the type of use at this location. It's probably the thing that is most relevant to us. So any comments on that? Councillor Crumley.
Well, thank you, Chair. If it were a change of use from a house to a business of some kind, then there would be perhaps more considerations, or different considerations. Here it's a change of use from a professional business use to a dwelling, as you said, with no or very few additions to the outside. To me, and it's a relatively isolated spot, I'd be quite happy to say no objection.
Councillor Lillicrop.
Yes, I'd agree with that, Chair. I think it's quite some distance from other properties, and as Councillor Crumley said, it's not as if somebody's trying to set up a new business there, which might be a different proposition altogether.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd say I don't think it would be particularly relevant on noise, but I would have thought the noise from a veterinary practice would be no different from the noise from a neighbour that has dogs. And they wouldn't reject a planning application on the basis that the neighbour has dogs. So I propose from the chair that we make no objections to this application. I think, well, in fact, Councillor Crumley probably did so already. So Councillor Crumley proposing, I'm seconding. Those in favour of making no objections. Thank you very much. We make no objections.
So moving on to our next application, Francis Baily Primary School. So the proposal is the demolition of an existing single-storey teaching block and the erection of a new single-storey teaching block. The current block is in poor condition, and the new teaching areas will replace the dilapidated building. I believe it's this one here. So this is the existing. This is the proposed.
So it looks like it's to have a similar, slightly, if you go back, so I can just see the area, So it's slightly larger and slightly taller, but still a single-story building.
It will have white render, red facing brickwork and plain roof tiles, white frame doors and windows. They say single story to follow existing buildings on the site.
So it's certainly not visible from the road. It's some way away from other houses, and in fact it's sort of surrounded by other school buildings.
No objections from neighbouring teachers then?
Yeah, there's been no objections on, no representations on this application.
I think the closest neighbour is Kennet School, isn't it? So,
Chair, can I make a comment?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, first question was just, is there any other temporary housing for the teaching whilst the demolition's happening? I'm sure the school will deal with that. It might be done over the summer. But more specifically, I think this is an ideal location to ensure that there's solar panels put on the roof for photovoltaic solar cells. So I really think we should be encouraging that, and both West Berkshire Council and ourselves, have expressed our climate emergency.
Zero carbon approach. What does it say there?
I can't quite read that, I'm afraid.
Sorry, I'll
Yes, so
there's lots of words there, but it doesn't actually mean anything.
Lots of words, but no solar.
Exactly. We'll embrace a sustainable approach. I mean, we just need to be specific.
yes.
There should be solar panels on the roof, at least sufficient for the demand of the building, and surplus would support the other surrounding buildings that may not be able to support these solar panels.
So, Councillor Crumley.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I think it's an excellent point raised by the council to say that there should be solar panels here. I entirely agree, unless it's clearly stated in the application that there are solar panels, and they would be shown on the diagrams on the mock-up, wouldn't they, if they were to be included? I'd go for saying objection because there are no solar panels.
Yes.
Okay.
So, one proposal from Councillor Crumley. Does Councillor Woodhams, are you indicating something, or is your hand just sort of?
My hand is floating. My apologies. Thank you.
So, Councillor Lister, would you second that from Councillor?
Yeah, I'm happy to second it.
Right. So the proposal is that we object on the basis that the public buildings should have solar panels so in order to achieve the zero emissions, carbon zero, which is already stated in the design brief as being an objective.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a proposer and seconder for those wordings. Those in favour of making that objection? Thank you. That is unanimous. I have to have a conversation with Councillor Cole after the meeting.
Chair, can I just comment on something else there? Solar panels are one part of trying to get buildings towards net zero carbon, and that's probably the lower cost and easy to do. But the other thing that we should really be considering as well, and maybe we want to consider this for the school, is the use of heat pumps, air source heat pumps adjacent to the building.
Because ground source for that location, by the look of it.
Well, yeah, possibly even ground source. You've got the space out the front of the building there. So I wonder, apologies if I know we just voted on this, but would it be remiss of me to suggest that we add solar panels and consideration of air source heat pumps, or just heat pumps?
Heat pumps, yeah. Can we add those three words? And consider those words and consideration of heat pumps. to our objection.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Deputy Clerk. Have you got that?
Yep.
You're happy with that? Okay. So we then move on to Thatcham Central and 32 Westerdale.
Right, so 32 Westerdale, they are looking to a replacement and enlargement of an existing front porch and garage and a first floor front extension above the garage. It's on this corner here. So this is the existing front layout with the porch and the garage slightly to the front. And they have a proposal of extending it out a fraction further with a first floor extension over the top of the garage to the front of the property. So here.
So to clarify, if we go back, the extension is already there. They're effectively extending the existing extension forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we look at the plan, so that's the existing at the moment. So they've got this bedroom over the garage at the moment, but they are looking to bring it forward. So redo the porch, bring the front of the garage forward a bit, and take the ensuite further out over the top there.
Okay.
So,
Can we see the street scene, please?
yeah. So I believe it's this one here. Yeah, 32.
Sorry, so it's a bit above the garage.
So this is the existing, so it will come forward here.
The property is in fact set back from either side. So the change, although it brings the front of the property forward, it's still well behind the building line. Councillor Crumley.
Thank you, Chair. I expect you know I'm a great fan of subservience of an extension to the main block, which you can see clearly with the existing extension as it is in the photo. As I understand it, that will remain. It will just be brought forward a portion. I suggest no objection.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to make a comment? Councillor Lister.
I was happy to second Councillor Crumley's
Thank you.
proposal.
Any further comments? I see nobody, so we have a proposal and seconder that we make no objection. Those in favour of making no objection? Thank you. That is unanimous.
Right, moving on to 41 Station Road. The proposal is to replace a section of flat roof with a pitched roof. So it's this property here. It's a bit difficult to see, but it's this bit of roof they're planning on. It says an unsightly section of flat roofing at first floor level, and they want to have a pitched roof to match the existing, with the same as the hips and other features. So yeah, can't really see too much from there. So it's under the dot. It's just that little bit there. I think they wish to make the same as. Have I managed to delete the? Managed to close the map and things down, haven't I? Bear with me one moment. I'll go find it. So this is the existing with the flat roof to the side, and this is the proposing what they wish to do to the roof. There have been no representations on this application.
Any comments? Councillor Crumley and Councillor Woodhams.
Well, we've had those wonderful dormers on the earlier application. I'm left wondering how on earth the flat roof that we've seen here managed to get planning permission, or maybe it didn't. It looks absolutely hideous again, as it is, and the proposed amendment to turn this into a pitch roof looks like a great improvement. I do hope that we can offer no objection.
Councillor Woodhams.
Yes, it greatly enhances the appearance of the property, and I'd like to second that.
Thank you. So I have proposal and a second. Anyone else wishing to comment before we go to a vote? No, so we'll go to a vote. Those in favour of making no objection. Thank you. That is unanimous again.
Our final application of the evening is for 3 Keighley Close. It's a proposed single-storey rear extension for an enlarged kitchen dining room and an extension over the existing garage to create an additional bedroom with an ensuite. So, expand that a bit. These are the existing elevations. And this is the proposed scheme here. So they're looking to put a kitchen dining room to the rear here with a single-storey extension to the back, and then add the bedroom and the ensuite. Yeah. Property is here. It is this one. Helpful with the number. So it's to match all materials to match the existing. The parking, they've said they will change from slabs to permeable tarmac. There's been no representations.
So, question: can I see the plan showing it from the front, please?
Yeah.
So, I'm looking for the front elevation.
This one here.
That's how it's going to be.
Yeah, it looks like it's a flat roof there, but if you're looking at the side elevation, it seems to have a pitch roof.
Madam Chairman.
Yes.
I'd like to see extensions like this set back, in other words, subsidiary to the main block, and this isn't taking place here. So that's my my concern. To me, it's so important that should be done that I would propose an objection without that subsidiary effect. Thank you.
Any other comments? No. See, so we have a proposal to make an objection on the grounds that it's not subservient. Do we have a seconder for that? I see nobody. Madam Deputy Clerk.
Sorry, I'm just re-looking at the plans just to see whether that is subservient or not, because that garage looks like it's set back.
Yeah, but they're looking at the height of the
It's the ridge height.
the ridge line was the same on the plan.
So
It's set back, but the front face may be set back, but the ridge line, which is the more
Is what we're aiming at.
more visible, is not
it is set back,
subservient.
But not subservient.
It's not subservient. Okay, so I have a proposal to object on the grounds that it's not subservient because the ridge line is the same. Do we have a seconder for that? I see nobody wishing to second that. Would someone wish to propose that we make no objection? Councillor Woodhams does. Do I have a seconder for no objection? Councillor Lister.
Propose we raise no objections.
Yeah, thank you. So Councillor Woodhams proposing, Councillor Lister seconding. Those who support in favour of making no objection. Thank you. That is carried with against Councillor Crumley, so that's carried 4-1. Thank you very much. So the two planning applications that we wouldn't normally consider, have any objections been received to your knowledge?
no, not when I checked earlier today, so nothing's been received.
Thank you. So that concludes agenda item 10. Agenda item 11, planning matters. Do you have anything to report?
Nothing further from me, Chairman, on that.
Thank you. So agenda item 12, traffic management, highways and road safety matters. Do you have anything to report?
Nothing from me, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Lillicrop, you're on mute.
Thank you, Chair. Could I just ask about the change in the speed limit on the A4, which I certainly support, but I've had a number of comments from local residents about the confusing signage, the fact that it's announced clearly from travelling west, but from the other roads there's some confusion between 30 and 40 signage. It may well be a temporary measure, but I just wondered whether you had any inside knowledge on that.
Thank you. I don't have any inside knowledge. I think what there is legally correct but misleading, because there's a 40-mile-an-hour repeater sign only a few meters before the 30-mile-an-hour comes into force, and because of the angle of the road and the vegetation, the 40 is more visible than the 30. Councillor Woodhams.
Yes, Chairman, I've got a photograph. I took a photograph.
Okay.
And there's a 40-mile-per-hour repeater sign attached to the merge in turn sign, which is just probably feet away from the 30-mile-per-hour new terminal sign. There's also, looking eastbound at the entry to the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit, the foliage really does not help the sight line. So as you're coming from the 40 eastbound into towards the 30 on the north side, the foliage is impeding the sight lines there. And also I thought that we were going to have the red signs which were going to state new 30-mile-per-hour speed limit, and they haven't materialized. So I think there's a bit of lacking in forethought on those three areas, which needs urgent attention.
So I think to summarise there, that what we're asking is would you be able to write to the council? And there are 3 points to make. The first one is can the 40-mile-an-hour repeater that's immediately before the 30-mile-an-hour zone be removed legally? The second one is, can the vegetation be pruned back so that the 30-mile-an-hour sign is more visible? And the third one is, can the sign saying new 30-mile-an-hour limits be put on all of the places where that limit applies? At the moment, it exists at Turnpike Road and at the Hennick Lane junction, but not at Tollway or the Lower Way junctions.
That's correct, Chairman.
Do you want me to repeat those?
No, that is correct.
No, I'm looking to Deputy Town Clerk to make sure that she has it noted properly.
I've got 2 and 3. I didn't hear the
first one is to remove it. Can the 40-mile-an-hour repeater sign, that is a matter of only a few meters before the 30-mile-an-hour sign adjacent to the hospital, be removed because it is misleading?
Chairman, just to clarify, that the 40-mile-per-hour repeater sign is attached to the merge in turn sign, and it needs to be removed because it is confusing.
So can I just say merged or moved, removed or moved, because there is a legal requirement to have these signs at a certain interval along the road.
Well, I think this 40-mile-per-hour speed limit repeater sign is too close.
Oh, no, if it either removed completely or moved to be the other side of the hospital entrance, so it's clearly in a 40-mile-an-hour area.
Well, whatever the requirements legislation proves to be, Chairman.
So it's if it can be removed, or if not, moved further away from the 30-mile-an-hour zone.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I've got those 3, and I will review on the recording.
Chairman, if it helps the Deputy Town Clerk, I can send her the photograph of the 40-mile-per-hour repeater sign attached to the merge and turn sign, so you can get a clearer view of the situation.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Chairman.
Thank you. So we have those 3 proposals I'll take together because they're all part of a package. And that's proposed by Councillor Woodhams, and I've effectively seconded it by explaining it. Anyone wish to comment before we go to a vote? So Councillor Crumley.
Yes, I think part of your confusion is that they've removed the 40-mile-an-hour limit signs, and therefore they don't put up 30s, because then they rely upon the law which says that if the lighting posts for the street lighting are less than 200 meters apart, then there's a presumption of a 30-mile-an-hour limit, so you don't need a sign. So it's just their way of saving money by not putting up traffic signs, speed limit signs unnecessarily.
There is a 30-mile-an-hour sign because it's showing the change of limit from 40 to 30.
I appreciate that.
But the point is that there's a 40-mile-an-hour repeater immediately before the 30-mile-an-hour sign.
No, that I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. So with those 3 points proposed and seconded, those in favour of writing to West Berkshire Council making those 3 requests, we have 4 in favour, against, and abstentions, 1 abstention. So thank you. If we could ask you to do that.
Chairman, after the meeting or before we close, could I record the email address for the Deputy Town Clerk, please?
Okay, should be in the agenda for the meeting.
If only I had one.
Okay. Right. So any further traffic, highway, road safety matters? See nobody raising the floor. Decision notices, as we are slightly ahead of where I thought we'd be with that number of planning applications. We can continue.
Are we waiting for something?
Are we waiting for something?
Yes.
Oh.
Apologies.
Here we are.
There we go.
Can't see it.
So these are the decision notice we've received. So one of note here was 8 Charlotte Close, where TTC objected on the grounds of overdevelopment and overlooking, the dormer window not in keeping, and the West Berkshire decision was a refusal as well. We had no objections on the Traveller's Friend, and that's gone through as approved, and other ones were not considered.
So they didn't like the dormer window either on Charlotte Close.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So it's good to see that the traveller's friend, former traveller's friend as it is now being put to good use. So that's decision notices, reports from town council appointees to outside bodies. We've already discussed the planning applications in respect of the flood attenuation schemes. Do you have anything else to report, Councillor Learcrop?
Nothing else from me, Chair. No.
Thank you. So that brings us to the end of the agenda and therefore the end of the meeting. So thank you, Deputy Clerk.
Chairman, as we've moved this to a working party,
Yes.
We normally make recommendations to council.
Okay.
Do you wish to follow that format?
Thank you. I think that we have made implicitly recommendations to you or to the clerk to send to West Berkshire Council our conclusions on the various planning applications. I don't see. And the other thing is to request you to write to Iceni Projects relating to the consultation on the draft vision. I don't see anything. We deferred the item that would go to full council, and I don't think there are any other requests to be made to other bodies. Is that correct? Oh, and of course, to write to West Berkshire Council in relation to the road signs that we've just discussed. Councillor Crumley.
If the meeting is over, I've just had a note.
Well, it's not formally over yet because we need to. The final item which we are adding to the agenda because it's a working party meeting is to decide what we need to recommend to request and recommend to take place, which would be automatic if it was a committee. I think we've captured everything there, haven't we, Deputy Clerk? Yes. Thank you. So with that, I think that therefore we can now close the meeting. The meeting is closed, and thank you very much. We'll wait for the recording to be turned off and then deal with post-meeting events.
This is on.